I just felt badly because you looked like you had a wonderful time, and then all of a sudden your luggage disappeared.
My luggage was taking a separate trip from me coming. Maybe my luggage didn't want to come home. I don't know. I do
At
not
least it
know.
was your return trip and not your trip there. That would have been worse, right? At least
That's what we,
you're coming home to close.
yeah, well, yes. Luckily, it was just more, really? Really?
And Jerry, do you want to wait for a few more minutes, see if we get some other people to join?
Give it a minute or two, yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was going to share a picture here. Oh, hang on. Let me do it this way.
I thought you were gonna sing Girl from Ipanema or something.
I just posted this, so here, let's just share this one. Check it out.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. Rory gave this to me 15 years ago. It's up and running.
Has Toby jumped in it yet?
Yeah.
No, he hasn't. But I've had to take it apart because the lower pond was leaking. And I think Rory used to use a pond liner on it. I don't know, but I found these tiny little holes that were there from manufacturing, like 5 of them. But I've got them all patched up, and I've got a liner for it now too. If it doesn't hold, but it looks like it's doing just well.
You
So
guys
get
are
there.
you're on a well out there, right?
When all this stuff starts growing back in, it's going to be gorgeous. And it's my deck is right up back over here, and so I can sit and listen to this. It's just gorgeous. So it's kind of fun.
That's
And I
awesome.
got my plants put in right today, and we're getting there.
You gonna go capture some frogs? Bring them over?
Nope, I got 2 dozen goldfish in there.
Ah,
And those are expensive. These are all of 39 cents a piece.
I was just gonna say, I always love when the kids used to go to the pet store when they were little and they're like, can we get a goldfish? I'm like, no.
These are
And
like
Mike would be like, come on, they're like 50 cents. I'm like, it's not the fish, it's the bowl, it's the rocks, it's the food, yeah, no.
these are all like 2 inches long, okay? But there is my dad's place, and my mom did this, probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. She dumped some goldfish into this pond right next to his house, and it's a bigger pond. It's like 30 feet across, 40 feet across. Never done anything with them. And there's some in there that are 7, 8 inches long now. And there's over 1,000 fish in there, at least, And it's just amazing that they survive every winter like that. But I'm gonna fish some of them out. I went to buy a couple longer ones. They get $30 or more a piece for those that are in that size. Some of them get as much as 70, $80. And it doesn't matter if they're koi or just goldfish. They're that kind of money. I'm like, oh. So I should do is go home and siphon them all out and sell them.
Hey Deb, I figured out why the slides were funky and they had so many different boxes. They actually had motion and stuff in them. I forgot.
Oh, that is funny. Okay.
It's okay.
Guys,
That's all good.
it's about 8 after, so we're gonna go ahead and start, and I'm just gonna turn it over. I want to say that it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure to spend Pets Pels, the leadership training with both Deb and Amanda in Kalamazoo, Michigan last month. It was a lot of fun for 3 of us to be together, and those two have got the wheels turning, and I'm excited for us. And they asked to have this meeting, and so I'm very happy to turn it over to them.
Thank you, Jerry.
Well, thank you. So, and now Amanda will begin our share here. We kind of ran through and developed a little bit of a PowerPoint to kind of give the big points here.
I was gonna say it's more so that I can remember what the heck we wanted to talk about.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, because we had a lot of it was fabulous, not only to be like in the same room with Jerry and Amanda, but also to meet our leadership firsthand and kind of experience for me, who was never a bricks and mortar Rotarian. It was amazing to be in a room, I mean, a big room full of Rotarians. And one of the, I think there's a lot of benefit to it. And I think that's something that we definitely have to be looking at in the future, is making sure that we are attending, because a lot of people were actually very interested to find out about us. And so welcome to our kickoff to 2526 of the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians. I thank you all for coming and hanging out tonight for this bit. Why don't we go ahead to the next slide?
And I don't know if everybody knows this, but Deb and I have, we've decided we're going to co-president this year and next year. So just kind of get some continuity so that we can, and also so we can cover for each other. We're both busy. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And whether
Yeah,
you're okay with it or not, tough noogies, because that's what's happening.
Yeah, this was a decision we came to once again because we were in the same room. Actually, what was funny is we didn't realize until I heard Amanda talking, like 5 people in front of me, that we were literally standing in the same line. So talk about a humorous moment where all of a sudden I'm like, Amanda, and she turns around, it's like, ah, you know, so everybody thinks we're kind of a little crazy because it's like, no, you don't understand. We're not in the same room like everybody else. We are.
Well, yeah, and also we're going to come back to this theme later, but we realized we had never met in person. We had never met each other in person until we were in
Yes.
Pels. So
So-
we're going to come back to that theme later about the importance of being able to do that. But
Absolutely.
so I wanted to present, you know, we know we're cool and we know we're different. We're in a changing world. We all know this. We have to be willing to change with it. There is a big rising tide right now of clubs trying to evaluate ways to keep their membership strong. And one of the things they're looking at is spinning off passport clubs that are e-clubs, that can service those members who maybe can't make it physically to a meeting all the time. They've got kids, they've got activities, they're snowbirds, whatever it happens to be. And so I just want to, we're going to throw this out here that, you know, we are unique, definitely. And we're changing the way Rotarians or Rotary views clubs and the club members. And I think this is all stuff we knew, right? And we want to be more efficient. We want to have goals. We want to improve our member experiences so that we are making sure that you guys are happy, that you're satisfied, that you're here for a reason, you're enjoying it. And most importantly, you're telling your friends how much you're enjoying it and you're bringing them around too. So I just wanted to throw that. I mean, it's a little bit of a soapbox here at the beginning of the presentation, right? But this is embracing change to leverage Rotary's power. This was a very big theme throughout the incoming president, Super Mario's speech about membership and how important it is.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, one of the more fascinating things to hear was to hear from our incoming Rotary International president. And he had some really, really big numbers to show us and about how Rotary is shrinking and everything else. And it is really important that effort in 2025 and 2026 to bring some new people to the table. And that's something we'll touch on a little bit later in here, but we also wanted to take a moment and kind of say, hey, you know, let's remind ourselves, you know, what does Rotary mean to me? You know,
Oh, we may have lost Deb for a minute, but you know, what does Rotary mean to you? Why did you join in the first place and why do you stay, right? Those are 3 very important things that we have to not only ask ourselves, but we have to make sure that we can convey to people when we're talking about bringing them into Rotary. We're introducing them to Rotary. You guys know my story. Rotary means the world to me because this guy named Jerry Jackson saw an opportunity to help me go be an exchange student. I came home, decided to join the army to be a translator. I never would have done that if I hadn't gone to Spain. Right. So it really has, it's really set me up in my professional world and frankly, just completely shaped my life. And I explained that to the kids when I was with them this weekend. It was like, you know, you got to understand that somebody nominated you to come here to RILA. Somebody nominated you. Every single student who was there was sponsored this year. Nobody paid out of pocket. So not only did they nominate you, they sponsored you. Like, this is huge. Somebody sees something in you. So for me, obviously, I speak to the youth programs, I speak to the peace initiatives. Those are what bring me to Rotary and why I joined and why I stay. But again, just kind of having that in your head when you meet somebody, these should be the 3 things that you can convey. And I mean, I know we're preaching to the choir a bit with our PDG sitting in the room, but you know, that's just a reminder. It's good for us to, every time we meet somebody, I've started wearing my pin. I've started wearing my Paul Harris pin to all events that I go to, because you never know who's going to see it and ask a question. Back. We got you, Deb. You're on mute though. But you're on mute, Deb.
No. All right. So apparently Zoom did not like me, and I've been having connectivity issues for like the last 24 hours at my place. So, but at least to finish my sentence, once again, I came to this in a weird way, and I've enjoyed the camaraderie of it, but I've also enjoyed, the potential of the people I meet, the services we could do, the things that make us great. So there you go. There's the rest of my phrase.
Thanks, Deb. And then I left this in here. This is not diversity from a DEI perspective, right? It is, but it's more than that. Our club being so unique because we truly have membership across all of North America. Most of North America is including in Mexico, and then we have members in Guatemala. So we have the most diverse potential membership base that you could have, both from a thought perspective, from a racial, ethnic, religious background perspective. So we have the ability to bring people in who bring so many diverse thoughts. That I want to just highlight that, just something to keep in mind, like we want to mirror our own communities, but wherever possible, we want to try to mirror the entire potential membership base that we have, because just because in your community there may not be a certain type of person, don't think that you shouldn't bring somebody in because they don't mirror your community. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that we are all being very open to who we're bringing in, that it's all about thought diversity and thought leadership. So we want to make sure that everybody's on board with that. And then one thing that Deb and I have been talking to as well is we were founded as people who ride motorcycles. Absolutely. And that is core to who we are as a club. But we are not only for people who ride motorcycles, right? So as we're looking at our membership, it's everybody. So the conversation should change just a bit from where we've been, which is, do you ride? Would you like to join my club? It's, I'm part of a club. We happen to all ride, and we'd like to invite you if you're the right type of person, whether you ride or not, right? So, and who knows, maybe we recruit Rotarians and turn them into motorcyclists. I'm fine with that too. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, this was once again being at conference, we found out that a lot of clubs didn't even know we existed, and they're like, wait a minute, you guys are a full-time e-club. And so we had people who actively pursued us to have, and I mean, I was invited to speak at a bunch of different clubs now because they're like, we want to understand how you guys operate. So it's interesting. And one of the things that came up is, well, would we welcome members who are not riders? And I believe we need to welcome everyone. And maybe we're going to find out we're welcoming people who can't be at their local club because it's a time issue. It's, time, a day that they just can't, they don't have the ability to be there for a meeting. And if we fit that bill, I think we need to start kind of bringing those people in, because I think they'll have a lot to offer us. So diversity on a lot of levels.
So here we go into the meat of this thing, recruitment. So back to what I was saying earlier about, having a good membership, a membership story, having a good, like, why I'm here, why I stay, what Rotary means to me. Like having one or two words that quickly describe what Rotary means to you is imperative, right? So when somebody came up to me and they said, what does Rotary mean to you? And I would say diplomacy. I might say peace, I might say youth, but I've got a few, but just having that super quick elevator speech is going to be so important. So we're talking to prospective members, focus on, for us, like Deb was just saying, the fact that we offer a club experience that's different, that we are clear about who we are when we meet, that we get together, we have meetings where we talk, we have speakers and they speak about either motorcycling things or they speak about Rotary things. We've had speakers who've come in and talked about their soup kitchen efforts. We've had speakers who've called in from Australia to talk about overland trailer like things live from Australia. That was really awesome, right? So we have the ability to bring in some really cool speakers and some different experiences that a lot of the brick and mortar clubs would typically have not done. They're getting to it now, right? Because they're using Zoom and they're doing hybrid meetings. But And then if you meet somebody who's kind of sort of interested, like, let's get them out. Let's have them join a meeting. Let's have them join one of the happy hour meetings. Let's get them out on a ride, even if it's just one of the local smaller rides where me and John Cram go get pizza, right? Like, have them come over.
Absolutely. Once again, opening it up to others. So let's talk about retention. We're in a place right now, we want to find out what's important to you. And that's why we wanted a chance to speak to our entire club about what do you guys want? What's going to be important? What's going to be interesting to you? We want to obviously keep as many people as engaged as possible, but it's really hard to do in a vacuum. And we want everyone to realize this is your club. This is only, this isn't my club. This is our club. And we definitely want to hear from you about, it could be a speaker, it could be, a subject. Hey, there's this going on in my community and I'd love to hear from more people about it. Anything that, and it's things that are part of the 7 areas of focus. I mean, you tell us, and that gives us the mission to find the appropriate speakers, to find information that's going to be interesting. We can only build it if we know that there's an interest in it.
And it's also going to be important that everybody gives it to us straight if there's something that's not working for you, right? Like I don't want anybody to think that we only want to hear the good things and the good ideas. We want to know where we're messing up, where we're not meeting the bar, and how we can improve. So that's one thing that I want to make sure we're all clear on, is just open lines of communication. Can improve if nobody gives you feedback that's constructive. I'm not saying come carp at me and be rude, but give me constructive feedback. If there's something that you didn't like how I handled, fill in the blank. I welcome it. I want to hear it because frankly, it goes beyond just this meeting. I probably do it at work too. So I appreciate all of the feedback from you guys. We all respect each other, and I appreciate that. So what Deb and I are thinking, we totally skipped out on a meeting at Pell's to sit down and noodle through some stuff. I'm gonna share something real quick with you guys so you can see. This is called Trello, and it's my life board here because it allows you to just throw all your ideas onto a screen rather than in my jumbled brain. So we literally sat for 2 hours while we were supposed to be, I don't remember what we were supposed to be doing. It wasn't this important.
It was a session. Actually, it was a session that was named one thing, but it was actually about something else. And we were like, yeah, no. So
We were like, let's go get a Starbucks and start noodling through stuff. So we just sat down and started brainstorming. Like, these are all the things that we were brainstorming. There's different things for, what do we got? Fundraising ideas and membership engagement, admin stuff that needs to be done, and service projects and a bunch of other things. So I just wanted to show you guys this just so you know where our heads are. The exec board they're all on here as well. Let's see, got Jerry and Rory and Keith and Jerry and Deb, like everybody's on here, so we can all noodle through. And I wanted to present this to you guys tonight because I'm hoping as we start doing service projects that require just a little bit more coordination and project management that we start using this as well, so it doesn't look foreign. It's pretty easy to use, frankly. But like I said, mostly it's to get it out of my brain and into somebody else's eyeballs because I will forget it.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. It was like, well, as long as we got some time, and we really thought it was important. And one of the things we want to pitch as well is that maybe if you guys can give us an hour or two, like on a Saturday morning, we want to hear from you. We can add more to this board. And even if it doesn't come to fruition this year, maybe it's going to come to fruition 26, 27. We can take these ideas and hopefully memorialize them and look at how we can build on them. But one of the things that came up is, do we want to go back to having weekly meetings? Do we want, how would that be of use in getting us more connected and trying a variety of different things that to keep everybody engaged? That's something that I and Jerry did the survey, and we need to go through those. responses. Not everyone has completed it yet. If you haven't, please do. We'll probably get a reminder email out to everyone. But some of the things additionally that
Actually,
we came up with,
everybody on this meeting right now has done it. But
Yay.
interestingly enough, it does show that there's a little bit of problem with the timing. Okay, for it's not the timing so much as it is the day. There's some people that their lives have changed. So we
Yep.
got to look at that carefully, because there's some people that's the only date that it works too. And so, you know, I'm just putting that into a spreadsheet. The bothersome thing to me though is we've lost connection, because we've only got 6 out of the 11 have responded of the active members, and only 7 out of the 19 of the other ones. So we're short on response on there.
Yeah, and that's on one of the following slides too, is re-engaging our membership, right? We gotta have
Yeah.
better touch point with our members. And I honestly, the week back to weekly meetings was kind of my gripe. And it's not a gripe so much as it's hard for me personally to remember which weeks are Rotary meetings and which weeks are not. And then I'm pulling out my calendar to try to figure out, is this the first week or is this the fourth week? And where are we? And I understand, we all understand that not everybody's going to probably join every week. That's fine. And that's not what we're striving for, frankly. We just want people to be engaged. So if they can only join for the first and third, like we have it now, so be it. If they can only join for the second and fourth, so be it. Right. But at least we're offering that opportunity to be able to hop on the meeting every week, regardless of what day it happens to be. Or maybe it's 3 times a month, whatever it happens to be. But I just wanted to bring that up, and we can talk about it at the board meeting too, but I wanted to throw it on the slide here. I mostly wanted to throw it on the slide to see who got angry about it.
It
But-
actually wouldn't be that hard to go back, because, you know, what we were doing, I mean, basically, we can convert our board meeting to a general membership meeting, and accomplish, you know, the board votes during the meeting. We just keep it open and stuff. I mean, and then the last meeting of the month, we can go happy hour.
Which would be a great way to invite our local brick and mortar people to meet us,
yeah,
which was what I
and
put
it's
on,
not-
right?
And it's not going to be that hard to do. I mean, the harder part is coming up with speakers and stuff.
Yeah.
If we kept it that way, we're not changing anything.
We're not changing it. It's still two speakers. Yeah, so that allows us a couple more, like I said, connection with the brick and mortar. But in general, I would like all of us to be connecting with our local brick and mortar. Every one of us has one in our area, except maybe who.
Do you guys mind if we stop for a second and get input from everybody else in that thought?
No, not at all. On the meetings.
Yeah, Rory, David, Keith, thoughts?
Anybody? Bueller? Okay, apparently not.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask and it's not working well.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
So thoughts on going back to a weekly meeting.
I'm good with whatever. I mean, seeing as I'm retired, I'm here every night anyhow.
Keith, you're still on mute, and I'm sure you've always got great things to say, but I can't hear you because you're muted still. There you go.
No, I'm not.
No, Rory, we heard you just fine.
You're good. Go ahead, Keith.
Okay. Now I was thinking, I like the thought of doing the weekly meeting, but keeping it pretty much like we've got now. Just have the third week as a general meeting, and the second week and the fourth week as a happy hour like we had in the originally. And when I first joined Rotary back in 1422 or whatever it was, they had if I remember rightly, it was like you had to be attending 60% of the meetings, and 60% of that had to be at your home club. And of course, that's all gone by the wayside now. But the more you can attend, the more you get interaction with the people. It just makes it easier.
And frankly, it allows us to go to look every month or even every 2 months and say, hey, so-and-so hasn't been here for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And they're usually an all the time attender. I find that that may be one of the reasons that we've lost touch with some people, is just because if you can't attend on the first week and then something comes up on the third week and now you've missed an entire month, right? And then it just it's no longer part of your day-to-day.
Well, thinking about it, you know, being the E-Club that we are, we don't have that opportunity to socialize. And I think that going back to pulling that monthly happy hour is a great thing. That gives everybody the opportunity to chip in. And
Yeah, we can noodle through
we've had
making
some
it more
fantastic
interactive.
programs this year,
Yeah.
and I kind of screwed us up the year before when I did what I did, but it's better. I mean, we've not missed a single meeting. We've had great meetings all year long, but we still haven't got the attendance. And I think the connections are just the most important part of this.
You know, and Jerry, please don't beat yourself up about, sometimes we have to try something to see, you know, whether or not it's going to work. So, you know, we tried it, it didn't work. So now we're going to try something else. And what I want to point to is that I want to have a better meeting structure, because I think what's happened is it's like we get on the call and we launch immediately into the speaker. And I think we need to take that first 10 minutes just to hear from everybody, you know, even on that, you know, basic, hey, how you doing level. And if there's anything that, you know, as a club, we need to make sure everybody's aware of, blah, 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 blah. But changing up that structure a little bit, and then once again, giving us the meeting where, you know, hey, we're all here, we're hanging out, you know, it's a little more free form. We've obviously seen some different things, some different games. You know, we could try the wine again. We could try a couple different things that, you know, fun things that, you know, it's engaging everybody, and it gets people to come back because they said, oh wow, that was a lot of fun, let's do this again.
We could do the bingo thing or whatever it had, just something interactive. David, you tried to say something a couple
Oh,
times.
no, I had, well, just about 1,000 things running through my head, but it was that I like the idea of the board meeting becoming a club assembly too. Because there's a lot of stuff that you and Deb just learned at Pell's, and it's a little too easy to think that the board's got everything and the president and the secretary have everything, and so we don't. You don't necessarily know all the things that you heard at Pell's. It's hard to compact that 3 days into this, and what goes into trying to keep this club what it is.
That
So,
and we have board meetings and we come up with cool ideas, and then the only people who get assigned to them are board members. So it's just us over and over.
and that's it's. I think the club assembly part makes it easier to say this is our club.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Some ownership,
Thank you very
yeah.
much for that
Yes.
feedback. That's great to hear. And yeah, there are things that, yeah, admittedly get talked about in our meetings that we're not acting on because we just don't have the bandwidth, and we need the engagement. We need everybody to be engaged in order for this all to make sense.
Well,
And
and
it
just for
comes across better. It comes across better like this than it does in emails that get overlooked.
it does, and nobody ever reads to the bottom of the emails. I'm guilty of that 1,000 times. Almost every email I get, I have to go back and I miss 3 or 4 points, but there's a lot going on in Rotary that's changed, and that you heard about at Pell's, and I know Jerry as a facilitator knows about, but unless you're going to Zone or to Pell's or to you're living on the learning center, there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
You know what? That's actually so incredibly accurate. You know, there is so much happening, and once again, because we are this kind of like satellite floating over everything, so things are going on at these bricks and, you know, I think bricks and mortars engage better in stuff like that because they're in person, you know, whereas we're a little, it's a little more difficult. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to say, hey, everybody come, you know, and we don't, once again, we don't expect everybody to be at every meeting. It is not always realistic. So, you know, making sure people understand that, you know, we want them to come at least, you know, once or twice a quarter would be really nice. But getting them to come to an assembly where, yeah, we're talking about, you know, what's the board got brewing right now that we need to hear from, you know, I think it's a great idea.
Can we do a district grant? Can we, you know, for a project? Can we, that kind of stuff?
Well, I'm just hearing everybody's ideas about projects, right? Because we do get a little echo chambery in the board sometimes. So
well,
Not
easy
by,
to
not,
have.
by- not in, not intentionally, it's just by
No, it's just
design.
easy to happen.
Yeah. So some thoughts that Beth, who's Beth? Deb and I had, just like we said, back to weekly meetings, connecting with our local brick and mortar. A lot of the brick and mortars are setting up passport clubs. Like I said, is, one of those things we can provide to those is, hey, been here, done this. Let's share best practices and lessons learned. Re-engaging former members and of our clubs and our local brick and mortar. I know that all of us have friends who are Rotarians in the area who maybe just aren't involved or aren't even Rotarians anymore. We've lost quite a few members that have gone on to do other stuff. So let's re-engage. Like that's a great place to start. You guys have heard me talking about it. I have been obnoxious with my group of rebound exchange students who are all still living in District 6380. So, we want them all back. So anybody that we have that is either fallen away or has never truly joined and just has kind of been around the orbit, we want to re-engage and get them in. One thing I was thinking too, there 6380 is in Michigan and Canada. How many people in Michigan and Canada probably don't go to Rotary meetings from October to March because they're somewhere warmer, right? So can we be the warm landing spot for them as they're doing their Keith Lindgren hop in the trailer and go to the beach thing every year? Like that'd be a way that we could definitely bring them in as associate members because we don't necessarily want to steal members from other clubs. Robbing Peter to pay Paul is not going to be helpful from the overall. But we do want them to stay involved and engaged and talking. I am not familiar with Rotex alumni. Is that a Rotaract?
It is. I am actually the club secretary of the District 7870 Rotex Alum Rotary Club.
Oh, that's great. So
Ooh.
I'm honestly
Rotex
just learning about.
is that Rotary Youth Exchange, kids?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun.
I didn't even know that club existed.
I
So,
will
like,
send you an invite. We are an
Thank you.
e-club as well. I will send you an
Awesome.
invite to our next meeting.
Yes, please do. And I would love to
David,
join. And frankly, like
Amanda
I
and I
said,
are both former exchange students,
Yeah.
so
We learned something new. We learned something new today. So this is pretty awesome.
I honestly like the more I learn about Interact and Rotaract and Ryla and Rotex, like all of these are really cool. We obviously are doing a great job of creating new opportunities. We all know that they're not converting well to full Rotarian status. And
Exactly.
that was another big theme from Super Mario's presentation while we were there.
We lose a lot.
We do. And then, okay, so we also want to make sure everybody is equipped with what they need to have the conversations that they want to have when they need to have them. I'm going to do an intro email template. What I was thinking is I want everybody to introduce yourselves to your local brick and mortar. And even if you don't have connections with them yet, and it'll just be, hi, my name is Amanda. I am president and again, co-president this year of the Motorcycling Rotarians. I actually live in Lansdowne. I'm right here. I would love to come present. This is who we are. This is some of the things we've done. Just that, right? Just present who we are as the Motorcycling Rotarians to our brick and mortars. And then the elevator speech is more about Rotary in general, right? This is who we are as Motorcycling Rotarians, but this is what Rotary is. And here's the 7 areas of focus that I hope we should be able to all somewhat spit out. I get tripped up a little bit on them, but at least talk in generalities about that. And then I will, by the end of this month, everybody will have in their home mailboxes a box of business cards that are for the Motorcycling Rotarians, and they will have a QR code on it that'll take you directly to the website. It'll take you to the website, and on the website, you can click the link and get to the Zoom call. And those, I think, are another one of those invaluable tools that just have a few in your pocket. Keep them in your car, keep in your bike bag, whatever you happen to be. If you're at the Indian dealership in Hagerstown and the guy starts asking questions about Rotary, be like, here you go. And most people are gonna be like, I don't want that. I'm like, just QR code here. So, but you guys will all have those. Unless you tell me otherwise, I'm gonna have them shipped to whatever address you have in your club runner. And
just
if you'd like them personalized, please reach out to me because I'm happy to personalize them and send them out as well. Or if you want just general ones that have the Rotarian or the RCMR stuff on it, I can do that.
And I have to tell you, the whole re-engaging former members discussion between Amanda and I kind of came up with, I may actually get on a plane and fly out to Virginia, because then we could go visit people like John Cram. And we kind of came up with a whole, wouldn't it be fun if, just going to visit, former members, show them a little love, be in the same room with them. It's not a bad thing. And
Just
and
roll up to Chris and Colleen's house unannounced and
yeah,
I just went through our club membership on the side here just to figure out how many people I don't personally haven't personally met in person in our club, and there's 6, and so David's one of them actually, and I've everybody else in the club I've actually ridden motorcycles with, so
I'll see you
David,
in
you're-
I'll see you in
you're-
so I'm
Calgary.
sitting here. You're gonna be there, David? All right,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Yep.
But my plan is to connect with everybody sooner or later. The hardest one's gonna be Ron Coaster. He's out there in California, but hey, but my goal is to get with everybody one time. Anyway.
Where is he in California? Because we're going in December.
I don't know. I have to look that up.
Because we got engaged when I was stationed at DLI at the Language Institute in Monterey, so we're going back for our 25th.
all right.
Okay, so moving on. Service projects. Some things we were noodling through. We have always struggled with service projects because it's hard to do something that everybody can be involved in. So what about we let some other club do all the work and we just show up? That's supporting our brick and mortars, right? That's what we want to do. If we can, let's get there. Let's wear our RCMR t-shirts or whatever it happens to be and be there. And we're from the RCMR and we're here to help. I can't remember, Deb, who brought up the Amazon wish list, but I was like, man, that's perfect. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. All right. So going back to the bricks and mortar projects, we, especially our associate members, you belong to a club somewhere else. If you guys are doing a project, talk about it, tell us about it. If we can support it in some way, even if it's a minor donation, it's still, it's great to know what other people are doing. The Amazon wish list came up because I got involved with a charity here that they support all sorts of different people, and I happened to come across a woman who was fighting cancer, and I was really moved by her story. And what they did is they posted an Amazon wish list. She was homeless, and there were things that she needed, and it was basic. There was nothing on that list. I mean, it almost made me sad to think, a set of towels, little things. I think in the end, I sent like $50 worth of items to her, and it was all done through this Amazon wish list. And that is something, that could be something else we can be supporting is, once again, if you have a cause that they're looking for things like that, material goods, we can do things like that. One of the things we heard, I had many people stop me when they heard we were the motorcycling Rotarians, that they're like, oh, hey, in my town, I've got the American Legion Riders, we've got Rolling Thunder, we've got Baca, we've got all these groups. Great, connect us to them, because those groups spawn other groups. Every year, I've got an American Legion ride coming up, I think the 24th this year. So, I'd like to go participate, but we can't participate in things if we don't know about them. So trying to pair up with them would go a long way. Days of service aligned with the areas of focus. And this also feeds into, we just had, and why can't I remember his name? The Epic Day of Service guy spoke with us, and using that potentially, I would just want to influence everyone to participate.
Oh, that was Robert.
Participate. I don't care what you choose to do. I want you to do it. And I want you to come back and talk about it, because it's that service that, is really part of our foundation.
Yeah, and I want you to take a picture and send it to us so that we can post it on our social media and say, hey, look, it's motorcycling Rotarians in the wild, and this is what we're up to. So we start doing some of this outreach that will get us a little bit more visibility. So, and then Yeah, Ryla. I can speak for hours about Ryla. It's very fresh, very raw right now.
Okay,
Very cool.
I like that heading, the motorcycling Rotarians in the wild,
Yeah,
as
that's
a
us.
header for a picture page.
Yeah, there we go. Motorcycle Rotarians in the wild. And to go back to that, let's not over engineer this. If this is Rory deciding, hey, I was down at the park yesterday and it's really a mess, I'm gonna go clean it up. Go clean it up. Take a picture and we're gonna take credit for it. Good job, motorcycling Rotarian. Like we don't need to over engineer things. If it's like we talked about, like trying to find a local fire department or fire and rescue who wants our old helmets to do training. If you find that, by all means, tell everybody. If we're local, we'll do it, right? Those kinds of things that we can just do as individuals. It's a dopamine push. We all actually thrive on that stuff.
And we're not stuck on size. You know, we don't have to do a grand service project. It's these little things, and especially on the local level, you know, that's affecting your community. You know, I think that's important for us, and that's a little bit of my own focus this next year is what can I be doing in my local community that's going to make sense, that is, it could be raising awareness, it could be, you know, and simply that, oh wait, you know what, my local park needs a pickup. Now maybe I'm going to reach out to local brick and mortar, you know, clubs and saying, hey, would anybody be interested in coming out to do this? Because hey, it would be helpful. Things like that. And we want to hear about it. And once again, what Rotarians in the wild, you know, motorcycling Rotarians in the wild. I think it's a great idea.
Yep, and then Ryla and Youth Exchange, we've already kind of talked about that a little bit, but I think those kids live on their phones a lot of times. We're trying to get them off their phones, but they're there, right? So if we can do something that's a mentoring, we can do something that's, you're going to hear about mock interview opportunities that we're going to be doing, those kinds of things, just inviting them to the club. Frankly, there was a kid sitting next to me at lunch on Saturday, and I told him about who we are, and he went, I have a motorcycle. This kid's 17. He's like, can I be, like, yeah, you can come join my club, right? So just anything we can do to like help these kids who are already being propped up as future leaders be successful and continue to grow.
How about this? Let's take a moment and talk about that sponsorship. It looks like we will have the opportunity for next year, so for 26, to sponsor some kids. And we can do some fundraising around that, just around that subject. Both Amanda and I were so excited about it. We were willing to put the money up to do it this year. And unfortunately, it was just a little too late in the process.
So it's actually a really cool thing that we may be able to do. There are a number of kids in the foster system in our district who don't necessarily have a home club because they have bounced around a lot and maybe aren't always in the district when they bounce from house to house. So in conjunction with the local Boys and Girls Club in Flint, we are looking at ways to in Detroit area, we're looking at ways to sponsor some of the kids who are in the foster system specifically. So we're very excited about that. Christina Schofer, who I think Rory, you probably have known since she was born, is very involved in Ryla. She's our 6380 lead for Ryla, and she brought that to us, and I'm excited about that one.
Correct me.
And we already talked about. Go ahead, Rory. Sorry.
I just have Jerry correct me if I'm wrong, but we have $300 from the Glenn Ingold Memorial Fund that was not designated. He said use it for something worthwhile.
Yep.
So there would be $300 right there that we could use.
Perfect. Easy peasy, right? So, but I want to make sure that that's kind of a renewing line item that we have in our budget.
I understand.
Yep. And then we talked about Depic Davis service, and I just want to throw this out here. If you have an idea, bring it up. But I will also ask, you need to own it. You need to be involved in the actual prosecution of that idea because there are only so many of us and so many hands. And as much as I would love to be independently wealthy and be able to just do nothing but service projects all day long, my boss will fire me and then I won't have any money to log into the internet. So help. I know, Deb, you feel very strongly about this. I back you on this one.
Yeah, you know, right now, and once again, you know, I hold such a strange position on our board because I've been actively involved in our board pretty much since I joined. And I'm looking at, you know, the financial side of it. Rory can speak freely about it. I think that going forward, one of what I'm going to say is we need to make sure that our president-elects and our presidential nominees are attending Pels. I don't care if we come up with an honorarium. I think, for the first time, if you think about it, our presidents were, I, as a president, I laid out a lot of money to attend that. And I'm talking about flying up, all that. I had to rent a car, the whole 9 yards. We need to be able to say, we want you to be president, but bearing all of that cost is rough. So if we were able to give our incoming president, $500 towards paying some of that expense, I think it would go a long way. I was, I'm lucky. I was able to afford it, and I was really excited about it and everything else. I can't count on our presidential, our president elect for, 27, 28 to feel the same way about it. So we want to see if we can relieve some of that financial burden going forward. Obviously, we just talked about sponsoring RILA attendees, and this is a great example. Having money on hand to start for startup costs for other projects and fundraisers. Something that probably most people on this call are, some are aware of because they attend the board meetings, but we were talking about doing gremlin bells, and it was this whole tie-in. It's not cheap. And you start to go, okay, how can we do this? So, we need to do some fundraising in here. We talked about possibly having a QR code set up so that people, when we're doing happy bucks, opportunities for quick donations, things like that, they can just use that QR code and it feeds directly to Rory's fabulous bank account, and that money is there. Just trying to, even if it were $5, it's $5 it's going to go towards something we need as a club.
Yeah, so we'll need to noodle through some other fundraiser ideas. The QR code can't be the end all to be all. The gremlin bells, honestly, if we could have made it work, and we'll continue to look at options to try to do that. But how much were they? $15 a piece to make them?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
getting
So
crazy.
That's
With the Gremlin Bells thing, I'm not opposed to. We have money at IFMR, and I'm not opposed to going and approaching them about funding the upfront cost.
Yeah, the problem with the gremlin
and
bells
then
specifically
we
was
end up
that,
paying them back, but
yeah,
but
we couldn't
we
find
gotta
them where
work
they
that
were
out yet.
reasonable. Yeah, we're
gotta-
gonna keep looking and see
We
if we
gotta
can
work
find
that out yet, but
Yeah,
this is
because
kind of an odd year to be able to do that. So
yeah, I mean, trying to get 100 or 200 gremlin bells at $15 a piece, I was like, that's not gonna work before convention. But
no,
Right up
But-
front, I'll
Well,
tell you,
we
we
could-
don't have the money.
yeah, I know. So we just want to throw those ideas out there. That's kind of the things we're noodling through. Very, very much want to focus on making sure our Ps and PNs can go to Pels and are not burdened financially. Obviously, every one of them is going to have the opportunity to say, I do or do not want to take it, right? That's up to the individual, but I don't want it to be a barrier for anybody to think that they are going to not accept a nomination because of the financial burden or potential financial burden. I think that's it, Deb. That was the last slide.
Gary,
yeah,
didn't we have previous people going to a pets in their area instead of coming all the way up here?
They can. That was an option that was offered to me. But I'm gonna say the value I got from being in the same room with members of my district was huge. And I joked with
Oh, no
many of them
doubt.
that I was not just a box on a screen that they saw. And more people were like, wait, what do you mean you're here from Texas? There were lots of explanations, and they were like, we had no idea. And that's what makes us so unusual and different. I want us to have more of a connection to our district. That is one of the things that I've put a lot of value in that. Once again, after coming home and really processing a lot of this, and just being able to meet other people. And we sat with different people all the time. You just get this conversation. It's so interesting to be in a room full of Rotarians. When you are not used to that, it is way a huge thing, and I cannot say enough good things about the experience. So I mean, yes, we can offer anybody, you know, as long as you want, you know, whatever you want to do, you know, we can make this happen. But I want to encourage people to take the time. My plan is actually to go up to Michigan at some point again, um, to visit clubs, you know, and give us a present, because you know, everybody and their brother knows Jerry. I mean, no joke. It is hilarious standing next to him, and how many people are like, "Hey, hey, hey." So it is very entertaining that way. But you know, to go up and talk about what we do, because we are different, and we're never going to be the same as a bricks and mortar club, but if we can give people a better experience and we start our growth, I think it's something. I actually pitched when I got my survey from what I thought about Pels. I actually said you need to have a track that addresses e-clubs in the future, because I think that is an area of growth that you can't ignore. So you know, I was pretty verbal about it, you know.
Oh, and I think both of us said it multiple times as well. So,
Yeah.
so we're at 5 minutes to 8. I want to make sure we give the opportunity to open it up to everybody. If you guys have feedback, like I said, I want feedback. Good, bad, and ugly.
Let's play.
Let's go.
That's like you said, just not everything's going to go the way we plan. We're going to find new stuff. This is a great club with wonderful people, and there's so many different things that we can do. We partner on projects, maybe do a district grant.
Yep.
Yeah, we've already done
Yeah,
4 or 5
yeah.
district grants, and
Yep.
but there's no reason not to approach to do more.
Well, and I think, you know, that's something we need to definitely be talking about. You know, I don't think, because we've got into some bad habits, we don't talk about that stuff. So it's going to force us to be like, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, who's got something, who can we be partnering with?
Yeah, 6380 is an amazing district. They have fabulous people in it, and our DG track is they're a pretty good group, and I'll bet they'd let us play with people, or you know, with other clubs. And
I'm all about, and additionally, I'm really about local community. So you know, it's difficult as it can be to be part of a community that I don't, you know, that's 1,000 miles away. I know there are great things I can do in this community that I can come back and say, hey, look, here I am with my spring Rotary Club doing X. And I used to do stuff like that. I mean, I talk about the Mormon church here actually has a peanut butter processing plant. And
Wow.
so one day I spent 4 hours jarring peanut butter. And it was a hoot. And I swear I came out going, I never want to smell peanut butter ever again. But it was a really cool experience. And they open it up to charity, you know, they will bring groups in to run this manufacturing facility. I mean, it was super interesting. And you know, they make peanut butter that goes all over the place. It goes to food kitchens, it goes to shelters, it goes to all the, you know, so stuff like that. You know, if I find out another one of my local clubs is doing something like that, I would volunteer to go out and do it, and be happy to wear my, you know, RCMR shirt and say, hey, even though I don't belong here with all of you, I'm a resource.
it's fun. The connections you make doing that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Awesome, you guys. Thank you very much for your time always. We really appreciate that. Rory, I got your text, and I will make sure that you have business cards with your name on them. Rory Jehoshaphat Windrum Esquire is what they will say when they come to you. Jerry, do you have PDG cards? Do you have special cards, Jerry? You'll have to let me know what you want yours to say.
I've got my own Rotary cards. They got one of my project pictures on the back and stuff, and so I print them out. But if you know, and so yeah, don't. But I got a figure out how to put a QR code on them, I guess. So
That's
I gotta
jumping
look at that again.
Jehoshaphat, by the way.
It's jumping, Rory, jumping Jehoshaphat, Windrum.
And then and we've got IFMR cards as well that I got like 1,000 of them that just got shipped to me to take to Calgary. So
I don't know, maybe we all end up with those cards that have the chip in them. You can just tap on people's
I
phones.
was gonna say I did the hi hello me one for this.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
because most everybody has a phone to scan, and that way I don't have a pocket full of cards.
True story. But you can't leave your phone on somebody's bike in a parking lot.
You are correct.
the fundamental thing that Rotary's failing on, and it's been failing on since I've been in, and it's just interesting listening to Mario when he was talking. Membership is everything, period.
Mhm.
It is the thing, period.
Yeah.
If membership is handled, the foundation falls in place. You don't need to be forcing foundation on people. And I think our Rotary International has done great at forcing foundation and not about membership. And it's obvious, you know, they have all these great schemes and whatever, but it's obvious they failed. Obvious. And we are they. And you look at our club as well, we got a great thing, but we're not focused on members, and I am as well. And I sitting here thinking about it, you know, there's a lot of people that focus on what I do around the world. I need to be better about giving them that opportunity. And because a lot of people look at us from the outside, and I remember this back from the Davisburg days, Rory. We had a great club doing great things, but a lot of people on the outside look at you on the inside and think you're exclusive. And they don't realize that we're open and we really want members. And so
Yep.
we've really got to be better about doing membership. Rotary as a whole has to be better about offering the opportunity. And it's truly a gift. It's truly a gift to let people have the same opportunity that we have. And that's how we got to look at it. And we've got to focus everything on membership somehow. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, you can't build from nothing, right? So that's the thing. You can't do service projects if you don't have people. You can't do fundraising if you don't have people. Like it's all
No.
tied to people.
And I love the slide that had net zero is really negative growth, because it is.
Yeah.
If we're not 10% is average attrition for people because of life, because of moving or you know, that kind of stuff. But then if we don't add 10% to counteract that, it
Right.
just slowly draws down until we all see the same faces, or then we don't see any other faces.
Yeah.
Additionally, you know, I want to make it less, sometimes it's not about money. This is not about money.
Yeah.
You know, if you can pay your dues and you do a service project, you know, you're on the right track. I think people get that in their head. Oh, this is going to be about, you know, how much money I can donate, la, 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 la. And that's the stigma I want to take out of this, is that it's more about, you know, what can we be doing? Even on that most simple level, what can we be doing in our local communities that is going to make sense?
Service above self. There's a whole thing
Service
about
above
that.
self.
Well,
Yeah. And
Exactly.
yeah.
If-
All right, well,
if- Back
any good-
back into the Davisburg days, is we had the weenie wagon. And it was everybody worked on the weenie wagon, worked around the weenie wagon, and was a fundraiser for what we did for Christmas time and Thanksgiving.
Yep.
There you
That was
go.
our main fundraiser, and it was a working club. Nobody wrote a check. Everybody worked.
You
I
know,
worked the weenie wagon.
and looking backwards on that, the best part, I mean, yeah, it gave us a lot of money and all that other stuff, but the best part of that is it put us into a tight spot with each other all the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
It was fantastic what it did for us.
Yeah.
A literal tight spot.
It brought
Inside the weenie
it brought-
wagon.
It
Bumping
brought the term
butts.
butt buddies into a different meaning.
Yep.
Well, you know, first of all, as your incoming president, I thank you all so much for your feedback, your input. I want you to know that Amanda and I are really excited, and we're really hoping that we can have a really nice, consistent 2 years of leadership, because hopefully we're doing the right things and we're engaging the right people. So I thank you all for listening to us
Um,
tonight.
thank you both for agreeing to lead our club for the next 2 years.
Definitely.
Many hands make light work, so we appreciate all you guys put into it as well. Everybody on this call has been instrumental.
All right.
Who do I get to call out? We get to call out somebody because we were presenting. So we get to call out Jerry and say, would you like to lead us in the 4-way test?
I would love to do that. Actually, I meant to do was get the video out for that thing, but whatever. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, or to do. First, is it the
Is it
truth?
true?
Second,
Is it
will it build
fair to
goodwill
all
and
concerned?
wait a minute, I'm screwing up. Is it
Fair to all.
which was second?
Is it fair to all
Fair to all
concerned?
Fair to all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and
Goodwill
better
and better
friendships?
friendships.
And fourth, will it be
Beneficial
beneficial?
to all concerned.
And fifth, most
Will it be
important,
fun?
will it be
Will it be
fun?
fun? We're gonna make this fun. We're going to make this fun. So
You will have
hold
fun.
there.
It
No,
never
yeah.
hasn't been fun. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much, and we will see you all next week.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Have a
Amanda,
great
what should
night.
I use for an email address for you for the invite for Rotex alum?
awindle.rotary@gmail.
Okay.
You got it? You want me to throw it in the chat for you?
Would you please?
Yep.
Better leave the chat open a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't log off yet until you grab it.
Thank you.
No problem. Did I ask you if you're related to Hannah Satterley that played rugby for me?
If it's spelled the same way, then yes.
It is, and she's from Vermont/New Hampshire.
She's
something
New
like that.
Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's New Hampshire.
Yep.
There you go.
Let's
That's your
see.
small world. There's your
uh,
small world.
It is. If it's spelled this way, we're related somehow. So
Yeah, let's see. She is from Maine. Oh no,
yes,
she
she
lives
is. She's from
in Maine.
Portland,
Yeah.
or up around Portland at least.
I think she goes by Hayden now. Yeah, she played.
Mm.
This is funny. She played Colorado college rugby for me. So when we lived in Colorado, she played. So now I'm in Virginia. She's up there. So that's funny.
All right.
Funny.
You
All
have
right,
been
guys.
added to the guest list. You should have the
When
you
is
should have the
when is
invite.
that meeting?
It is May 13th at 6.
Okay,
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna try, but I think I'm gonna be in Huntsville, Alabama that night for an event, but I will do my best to log in from my phone while I'm walking
Don't
from place
worry.
to place.
That's okay.
Okay.
We waited. It's a week later than normal. It's normally the first Tuesday, but we held off because our outbound orientation is start tomorrow. So we wanted to be able to get the live update for that rather than
Awesome.
anyway. The
All right,
sole
well,
mission
like
of
I
the
said,
club is to support our stuff. There's our exchange in 7870. So
Good stuff. Cool. Well, thank you very much for the invite, and thanks again for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
We're
No
gonna
worries.
shut off the record. Huh.
I think if you click on the recording up at the top, the one that says recording.
There
does
it
give you
is.
an option?
Okay.